Hello Vault Heads, you are watching the self-proclaimed, sarcastically named Captain KeyForge, also known as PJ Broughton of the Steel City Snufflegators. And today I am going to be showing you my first Dark Tidings gameplay video. We're going key cheat crazy with 9 Saurian creatures along with the Colosseum, plus an Evil Twin epic quest deck. My opponent has played an old paddy there, and then they've passed it back to me. Obviously, with an epic quest deck, you're trying to build a hand possibly to try and archive away some of those Sanctum creatures, and there are 6 Sanctum creatures in this deck. There's also Safe or Sorry to try and archive them out of house in Shadows too. My opponent has gone into Untamed and they've played cross purposes. They've enraged both of my creatures. They've played a Chelonia, played a Sensaphilo, and then passed it over to me. So yes, I am going to be trying to make that work, but obviously you can't always do that. But you've all heard me talk about Red Hand Registry. I wanted a deck that had Red Hand Registry in it. But also as well, I've never had an epic quest deck either, so I was like, do you know what, if I'm going to buy a Sanctum deck with Red Hand Registry in it from this set, I'm going to look for one that's got epic quest too, because I haven't got it. And I saw this one for sale on Decks KeyForge. I've gone into logos and I've played Information Exchange, and then I'm going to play Think Twice to reuse Info Exchange, play down the Australis Seaborg, and then play the Static Charge onto the Saurian creature that's going to take out the Chelonia, and then I'll pass the turn. So yeah, with it having 6 knights as well, and with it being on Decks KeyForge for a reasonable price, I thought I would go for this one. So my opponent has gone into Star Alliance, played Operative Espion, Science Officer King Khan, Lieutenant Valmar. They've also played the Ulbrek device, they've played Techno Babble to stun my Sanctum creatures, then they've passed it back to me. Now the Ulbrek device means that you can't choose the same house 2 turns in a row, which is quite an interesting one. It's one of those artifacts. It's not as bad as Quixelstone or Heart of the Forest or anything like that, but it's definitely a game-changing artifact, and if you can't get rid of them, well, they could be difficult. And in this deck I've got Hornswoggle, which lets me use them, but it doesn't let me get rid of them. So as you can see, I'm dumping that Shadows at hand. So I've played the Seeker Needle, I have played Cement Shoes and dealt the damage to Science Officer King Cam. I'm now just choosing which creature to use, because I've just raised the tide, so I can now use a creature. So there we go, I've read with that and applied 2 damage to Old Paddy. Then I'll play Freebooter Fae. I also put a Ring of Invisibility onto Bulwark, and then I've passed the turn. I managed to get into check, which is fortunate for me. My opponent's gone into Untamed. Don't remember them having many things in Untamed to get me off, but you don't know. So they've raised the tide, used Operative Espion's passive ability to make Sensaphilo fight Bulwark. That's taken the elusive off. Put away the Pixie on Old Paddy, Persistence Hunting to exhaust Freeboot Fae, and then played the Fittest to put 1 power counter on a few of their creatures. And then they've passed it to me, but luckily for me they couldn't get me off check, so I'm going to be forging my first key. Again, I mean, I've had those 2 Sanctum Knights down for a bit, another 3 Sanctum cards in hand, but no sign of epic quest yet. Again, sometimes trying to force it can lose you the game. Also as well, like I say, I have got the Shadows card, Safe or Sorry, to archive any number of creatures from play, which is pretty much what epic quest is, an artifact that archives Sanctum creatures from play. So the fact that I've got 2 cards that can take Sanctum creatures out of play and put them into my archive in this deck is quite good, and the Safe or Sorry does work well with the epic quest. Obviously the Ulbrek device is making me go Sanctum or logos. I can't go Shadows. So yeah, I've gone into Sanctum again. Marshal is going to raise the tide. I think I make a mess of this and think it's capture rather than use a creature. But you know, there we go. It happens. Yeah, I did. I could have got use out of the Logos creature there. So I've taken the stuns off the ones that were stunned, put down the other Sanctum creatures. I haven't put down the registry for the moment, just because yeah, I'm still trying to get that epic quest to work. I'll say this, I possibly need to be a bit more careful of Grand Melee. I don't know if my opponent's got Grand Melee in their deck, but Grand Melee is very important in Dark Tidings, putting creatures of the same house next to each other. So they've gone into Star Alliance and they've played Pasminozzle, played Static Collection Array, used Lieutenant Valmar to Reap, Reap with Operative Espeon, pass the turn back to me. They're not in check because I've got the high tide, so this the key tax artifact, the Star Alliance one, is going to make their keys cost 7 while ever the tide's high for me. So yeah, just having a look at the board that my opponent's building, which is quite a decent board. I fought with Freeboot Fae, which will let me steal 1. As you can see, I have got Save 4 Sorry, so I could take 4 Sanctum creatures out of play now and put them in the archive. So I'm going to stir up trouble on Lieutenant Valmar and Operative Espeon. That gets rid of Lieutenant Valmar. I've used a Seeker Needle to finish off Operative Espeon and gain 1. And then, yeah, Save 4 Sorry to archive 4 Sanctum creatures, then play Smiling Ruth. So yeah, if I can get Epic Quest down and then find another 3 Sanctum cards, that'll be a free key. That's a decent archive of 4 there. I've passed the turn. My opponent's gone into Saurium, played Venator Altum, played Undagnathus, Lapisaurus, used Centophilo to fight Freeboot Fae, used Centophilo to Reap, because I think they got a couple of those down, and then they've passed the turn to me. Possibly been a little bit unlucky that they still haven't managed to draw the Colosseum, because this has got the Colosseum in it. So I can go into Logos and use the creatures down and play 2, or I can go into Sanctum. So I've reaped with Seaborg and done some damage to Centophilo, and I think that's finished it. Played down old Egad, which will ward its neighbours if it gets destroyed. Oh, I think that's a standard one actually. This Evil Twin one's slightly different, but I've played down Professor Gawain as well. And then I've passed the turn. So yeah, 1 Logos card, 3 Sanctum, 2 Shadows, 4 Sanctum in archive. So my opponent's gone into Untamed, played Persistence Hunting, then they've played Chelonia. That Chelonia could be a bit of a problem for me. They're in check now, even with the artifact that's taxing their keys. So I'm going into Shadows to take them off. So I've dealt 2 damage to Centophilo, then I've Seeker Needled it to finish it off. So it captured 1 from its own side, then the Seeker Needle killed it, earned me 1 and passed, and gave me the one that it captured. I've played One-Eyed Willa down. And that's going to be the end of my turn. So I did manage to get them off check, and I've managed to get to check myself. That Epic Quest unfortunately seems to be this game quite deep in the deck. But again, I'm in the game, I'm not losing the game heavily, and you know, if it comes out, it's going to work for me because I've got another Sanctum creature in hand, so that would be 5. That would mean I'd only need to find 2 cards. So my opponent's gone into Star Alliance. They've played the Grand Alliance Council, which is going to destroy quite a few creatures. Oldie Gadge has enraged all of their creatures. They've then discarded another one. They've raised the tide, played Colonist Chatmorn, game 1 because of Chelonia, put a blaster onto the officer Chapman, and then they've passed to me in check on 8 with a key cost of 5, while the tide is high for them and low for me. So again, do I carry on trying to make it work, or do I make an attempt at taxing Journey to take them off check? Backup plan's going to archive 1 card. Anomaly Exploiter's going to do nothing for the moment, but it could be useful later. Or, I mean, Fight and Skirmish on One-Eyed Willer, they're going to lose 2. That take them down to 6, and then if I raise the tide as well, that will take them off check. Plus I will shed one of the chains because I'll be on 5 cards with the Shadows card in hand, but obviously I can't choose Shadows because of the Ulbrett device. So I can either reap for 1, put down 2 cards and archive another card, or I can go into Sanctum. So I've gone into Sanctum, put down the Bulwark, put down Red Hand Registry, play a Taxing Journey. I am only going to capture 1 with that, unfortunately, but it does help me get them off because it's got rid of 2 of their amber onto my creatures, and with raising the tide it's took them off check. So that was a decent turn. Again, taking them off check is decent. The Chelonia is kicking in now, so they've played Physicus Felix and earned 1, played Ostracize, used Lapisaurus to fight One-Eyed Willer, although she's elusive, so she's staying alive there for now. I mean, that is a big burst there, thanks to the Chelonia earning the amber as he's playing those creatures. So yeah, the clock is kind of ticking for me now, in that I haven't got mass amber removal or mass amber steal in their stack either. It's got a bit of capture here and there, it's got a bit of steal here and there. You know, it has got some stuff in it. I mean, you've seen with the Scooped and the One-Eyed Willer and Freeboot Fae, Taxing Journey, stuff like that. So they are there, but I mean, he's forging a key next turn. I ain't stopping that. I'm just thinking again, if I'd been possibly a smidge luckier with the epic quest appearing, this game would probably already be over with 4 Sanctum creatures in my archive. So yeah, I've gone into the Shadows. I've used the Hornswoggle, but it's done nothing. I've used Blatant Thievery to enrage a creature and bring the amber to my pool. I've done some damage to Chelonia with Seeker Needle, and there I reaped with One-Eyed Willer to get to check to see if that could do it, because I'd have liked to have fought, but I needed to get to check and Chelonia's elusive. So my opponent's gone into Untamed and I've played Witch of the Dawn, Chelonia, Youngest Bear, Away the Pixie, and then I've won the game, which is lucky for me. Thanks for watching, so feel free to like and subscribe. I love comments and criticism, so please feel free to leave those. I'll hope to see you next time, but until then, may the Forge be with you.